this is where we get into the first intersection, and this first intersection is niche. And I'm sure it's a word you guys have heard quite often. And basically, I just want to talk to you about a definition of niche. So the definition of niche is a combination of who you serve and what you offer. And people often kind of say your niche and ideal clients, and they say it in sort of the same breath, but it is a bit different. So your niche is your specialization. It's what you do and who you do it for. And you can't have a profitable business without a niche. So niches range from broad to specific. And it's easier to start specific and broaden out once you achieve success. And it's this concept of being a big fish in a small pond initially to establish yourself, create a name, create some credibility. And then once you have established your, a sense of credibility in that space, you can then broaden your niche. And often people are terrified to choose a niche. I mean, in my clients, they are terrified. They're like, oh no, what about this? And, but I also work with these people, and I also work with these people, and I also work with these people. And I'm like, yes, that's awesome. But just to start off with, I'm not saying don't stop working with all of those people, but from a communication and a marketing point of view, you want to maybe start a bit specific. So just checking where I am. Yeah, so in terms of a niche, if I had to put together my niche, what I offer and who I serve, as I said, there's a broad statement, like I help service-based entrepreneurs, but I help service-based entrepreneurs to grow their business. But as you can see, it's very like, yeah, okay, well, I'm still not really clear on what you do. And you see that often, and I see the messaging often, like I help women lose weight, or I help entrepreneurs get in a state of flow. So you see kind of these broad niche messages everywhere. And this is an example if I had to give you a more specific niche message, which is a bit more tangible, it's a bit more clear. So I help coaches and consultants to differentiate online and attract more clients. So that would be an example of a more specific niche statement. It's much better than where I started with, which is I help businesses to grow. And so it's a much better statement than just saying what you offer, but there is still like something missing. It still doesn't have a lot of personality or spice. So now I'm going to take us to our second exercise, which is again on page 3 of your workbook, if you want to refer to it. And first, I want you guys to just jot down who you serve.
Thilo, there's been an interesting comment in the chat from Shireen, America. She says, I think it's hard to define your niche without trying with various audiences when you're starting out. Working with different people brings clarity. The reason I'm jumping in here is because of this exercise. So I don't know if you quickly want to touch a little bit on that just before we get into the activity.
Yes, no, so sometimes when you start, it is difficult to be specific. But, when I work with people that are starting, we first look at stuff like, we go through their story, we look at their strengths and weaknesses, and we look at who do they enjoy working with? Who do they really, what are the different groups of people they like working with, And then, I get them to sort of choose one group, maybe 2 if they're a bit confused, but one group to just do some research in and understand in that group, which group can they use their skills, strength, and build their offering, and which group do they like to work with. And then you build sort of your brand in that kind of intersection of where are my skills, strengths, experience in, and who do I actually like to work with. And this is where you will start marketing and building up your marketing messages with these people. If you feel that there's 2 groups, sometimes we research both groups and then we have a look at them. But again, you need to, in order to increase your reach and conversion, you need to choose a group. It doesn't mean that if people outside of that group come and want to work with you, you're going to turn them away. Of course not. You're going to explore that. And the way to choose a niche is actually to understand who you are, your strengths, your experiences. Who do you like to work with? I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I think Shireen's point is interesting to explore just a little bit. I hope we've got the time, because what she's referring to the audiences, and I think the important thing is to actually test the message with the audiences that you think you're targeting and get that feedback. And then you know, sharpen your pencil on that basis. I don't know if Shireen wants to add to that.
No, I think it's exactly what you're saying. I totally agree with everything, but it's just, I know when I started 18 months ago, it was really hard because I had I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't necessarily know what the right audience was. And my messaging wasn't niche. It wasn't, and through trial and error, it certainly helped define that niche a bit easier. But yeah, just a sort of a comment in the beginning. And I'm still refining it all the time, because as I evolve, right, my audience sort of also changes as I grow. Yeah,
and the two thing is to know yourself really well, and then to know your audience really, really well. Because sometimes we think that this is what people need help with. And maybe it's the thing they do need help with, but they don't actually know it. And they don't articulate it like that. They don't say it like that. So we need to we need to meet them where they're at. We need to find their pain points, their language, how they're experiencing the problem, and then build our messaging around them and not us.
Yes.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. I hope you guys are otherwise writing down who you serve. And if you'll see, if you like Shireen, brought up, if you're not 100% clear of who you serve because your business may be slightly newer than someone who's more established, then I've just helped you with some questions to write down all the groups of people you work with and which group connects most with the products and services you offer, or which group do you have the largest clients or customer base in already. And then thereafter to put together your niche statement. And as you said, you basically say, I help whoever I serve to do whatever I offer.
If you're more than welcome to start sharing in the chat some of your responses to those questions. And if you don't have access to the workbooks we have shared, that is fine. You can make notes on paper you have handy. I will make sure that we email the workbook to everybody in this session as well.
Yes, Liesl brings up a brilliant point. It's an awesome point to start sharing your niche statement. There are 26 people on this call, and there is someone looking for what you have. They say that business is just meeting the need of someone who's already looking, who has a problem and is already looking for you.
There's already some sharing happening. So Shireen, who is just on the stage, says, I help mid-level professional women. Alistair says, I help businesses simplify AI to create new capabilities and increase business performance. This is wonderful. Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, wonderful. Great start. So we're gonna start adding some nice juice and meat to that as we go on. So I'm gonna move on in the interest of time as well.